Hello, I am Thibaut Guignès. I'm a French deep freediver, part of the Alchemy team. And today I'm going to share with you an experience I had of blacking out. Blacking out being loss of consciousness. I had a blackout in July 2019 in Cyprus during a competition. I was going for what is usually an easy dive for me, 100-meter free immersion, and the dive went very well all the way, on the way down, on the way up, and I was very fine during the dive. I remember seeing the safety picking me up at 30 meters, at 20 meters I was still fine, and suddenly around 15 meters I completely lost it and I blacked out. Why this happened? It was a bit unclear at the beginning. On such a dive where everything was going well, why would I black out? And we inquired and made some blood tests and many other different tests after, and we found out I had a big lack of potassium in my blood, caused by an accumulation of lack of potassium over the 6 months leading to the blackout. And actually it was like a medical condition. It was not like related to freediving. Just the blackout during freediving was the consequence of this lack of potassium. So now if I had one advice, if you are going for deep dives, is to have you checked regularly on everything, just to make sure you have all the minerals, all the nutriments you need for your body, and that you are in perfect health before doing like deep dives.
Hi everyone, my name is Fatima Korok. I'm a Hungarian world champion and multiple national record holder deep diver. I've been freediving for 2 years now, and I would like to share with you the short story of my first and only blackout I've ever had. It happened recently in November during my preparation for my last depth competition in Sharm el-Sheikh, Egypt. I was attempting an 87-meter biofin dive. It was a big performance dive and it was my first training day in Sharm el-Sheikh. I thought I'm gonna be okay during my dive, although I didn't have a good rest before my attempt. Also during the dive, I felt really nice on the way down, but on the way up, I did some mistakes. I changed my arm position and I changed my kicking style. I remember my last thought before I blacked out was that I knew I'm gonna black out. The safeties, they grabbed me at 5 meters and then we broke the surface. I lost consciousness. I was out just for a few seconds. I got 2 recovery breaths and then I was brought back to life pretty quickly thanks to the safeties. I got 2 rest days and then I could be back in the water and I continued my training. What happened is that I was pushing my depth progression too quickly. When you get to a new dive site or when you have new equipment, you should step back a little bit, go shallower, and then build up gradually your depth again. That was one of my mistakes. The other mistake was that I made changes during my dive. You should never change anything on big dives. So my piece of advice is plan your dive, dive your plan, be safe, and enjoy your dives.
So blackouts, I have had a few, and they happened, all of them during world record attempts, due to different reasons and causes. I think one of them happened because the surface was really messy. It was big waves and I couldn't fully relax before the dive, so I did have some tension while going down, but still being relaxed in my mind, I thought I could continue. And my big problems in deep dives used to be contractions at depth. and if I get a contractions, I could almost hear it and feel it tearing my lungs. And when I had that feeling as I was swimming back up again, I knew that this is gonna be on my my limits. And my tips for beginners would be to mainly practice relaxation, both on the surface and going down, because they're equally important. And also, if you can, try and delay your contractions as long as possible, and do not have them at the bottom of 100 meters because it's not great for your lungs. And it takes a long time for the lungs to recover. I think my lungs still aren't recovered. So I think it's a really good idea to work from the ground and up when you build your flexibility in your lungs and your tolerance to carbon dioxide. Good luck.
So far, I have only one, and it was a few years ago in Bali. I was attending a freediving competition, was my first one, and I made a series of bad decisions, plus other factors were involved that led to the blackout. I'm trying to make it just one and learn from the mistake. So first of all, I was super nervous, even though I was doing a depth I was comfortable with. Of course, in a competition with other protocols, and the nerves were super high. Plus, I put a lot of pressure on myself because I was trying to make a national record attempt. So it was too much for the first competition and everything. So not only that day the current was striking very hard, and just when I was waiting for my turn, I saw a very good friend of mine that he was doing as well a no fins dive and a national record, having an underwater blackout, and that of course made me feel a bit more stressed and scared, and also for him, but he was fine at the end. But that made everything more stressful. Plus, during my dive, I was completely out of focus. I forgot to free fall, and it was a bit of a mess. Then when I turned, I realized I was very heavy. So the current, the stress, the nerves, super heavy, made the dive super hard. And then when I was reaching the surface, I was just thinking, Diana, hold the line and breathe, hold the line and breathe, and then I don't remember anything else. So fortunately, I had the safety divers with me and everything was fine. It was just a short surface blackout. So my advice to any free diver is, of course, a lot of training, and gain experience in the water, feel comfortable with your dive, with yourself, and putting yourself in stress situations are not gonna harm yourself. And the weight, be sure, very sure that you have the correct weight. Believe me, now I'm double checking for me and for my students all the time that we have the correct weight. And don't put extra pressure on yourselves, and dive safe and always with a trained buddy and safety divers. So that's it. Dive safe and enjoy the ride.